Okay, so I started my study by reading the memory verse first. And so I started reading the memory verse. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them. And I stopped. I had to go back. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them. And every time I said that, it's like it just melted my heart. Couldn't get to the rest of the verse. Had to sit there, as my daddy said, go and chew on that a while. I had to process it, chew on it a while. It was like when I first started reading John, and he said that he came here in the flesh and dwelt among us. I couldn't get past it. I should have started this lesson at the beginning of Christmas break, so maybe I could process it all by the time we get here, but I didn't. But I couldn't get past, and I know them. He knows me. I don't know myself, but then it just goes on. I did the second thing that we're supposed to do. We're supposed to read all of the verses before we start the questions. So that's what I did. Do you know how long that took? Because I had to process it and chew on it a while because it was all so good. Oh, I just want to break out, oh, how he loves us. I mean, just so good. And then I do day one. Takes a while. I can't comprehend it all. Get to day two. Ezekiel, how passionate. What a love story to us. The best I've read. I say that until I'm going to read something else that Jesus said. But it is just more than my heart can take. It's so good. Did you feel that way too? That's how I felt. And then, thank goodness David wrote that in Psalms 23, my cup runneth over. But I mean, mine's not just running over a little bit. I mean, it's just running over and over and over for days and days and days and days and days. It just keeps on. And I just can't collect it all up. And I'm thinking, dear Lord, how am I going to come up with a central idea when just every little phrase could be a big, juicy central idea? It's all so good. And then wrap it up within 20 minutes. I can't do it justice. And then, right in the middle of it all, he gives me John 10:10, which says, I have come, he has come, so that they, the sheep, can have life and have it in abundance. There you go. That few seconds of what I just described, trying to get through this lesson because it is so rich and so good and so powerful and so overwhelming at how much he loves us. When I can't do it because it's just so good, it's just a glimpse of an abundant life. And I'm telling you, if Jesus as our good shepherd, we most certainly can have the abundant life. And that's the central idea. 3 sections divided up. John 1 through 21, the good shepherd loves his sheep. Second, the sheep know the good shepherd. And then third, the sheep can be a powerful witness to bring more in the flock. So first, John 10, 1 through 21, the good shepherd loves his sheep. And how does he show that? From right off the bat, he shows that by warning them that the abundant life on this earth is not all about butterflies and fuzziness and everything being just so perfect and we can just love everybody because everybody's going to love us. No, he starts right out with the way it is, baby. That there's an enemy, and he gives us warning. He teaches us what the counterfeit looks like and what the real thing looks like. But the main thing is what the real thing looks like. But he has to describe the counterfeit. He's the real thing. He's the real shepherd. And of course, our enemy, Satan, is the thief, as he describes him, the robber. And he gets on down to business and says, I can almost feel like this is a father talking to his daughter. I don't care how nice they are. I don't care what they say. Bottom line, all they want is our enemy to kill and destroy. He puts it out there, plain as day. I mean, think about it. Little Red Riding Hood's mama told her the same thing. I'm always going to a nursery rhyme, right? What was it? Henny Penny? Okay, Little Red Riding Hood's mama. Don't talk to strangers. He mentioned strangers in here. Don't talk to strangers on the way to Grandma's house. She talks. What does she do? Does she obey her shepherd? No, she does not. She talks to strangers. So therefore, that stranger just happened to be the big bad wolf, the big bad enemy. And so he got to Grandma, found out she's going to Grandma's. Grandma's sick. He gets there before she does. I don't know. He's got 4 legs. She's only got 2. He gets there before she does. Lord only knows what happened to Grandma. And he gets in that bed and he pretends he's Grandma. Because, well, it depends on how you tell your story to your little ones. Oh, he just wanted to eat the cookies. But in reality is, he probably ate Grandma and then ate Little Red Riding Hood too. But is it not true? Can the same be applied? So what I want to encourage you is good and how wonderful. We already know what a good shepherd he is. If you have the personality, because we all have different personalities, but you have that personality just, I ain't worried about it. God's going to take care of me type personality that just wants to live in the fuzziness of it. Don't ignore his warnings. Don't ignore his instructions about the evil that's out there. Because if we listen to him and follow him, with him as our shepherd, the enemy cannot get to us. So therefore, if he is our shepherd and we listen to his warnings and his instructions, then we can still have the abundant life. It won't be stolen from us, and he won't kill us because we're following the good shepherd. So 2, the sheep know the good shepherd. So here we are again at another Jewish feast, religious feast. It was called the Feast of Dedication, which I believe is also Hanukkah. So here Jesus is with the religious leaders, and he is in a religious atmosphere, and he's talking to them, and they don't even know God is in front of them because they simply do not know God. Let me tell you something, ladies. Just because you're standing in a carport or standing in a garage does not make you a car. Just because you go to church does not make you a Christian. It does not make you, it doesn't mean that you know God. Just because someone says they're Christian does not mean they know God. It is accepting him as your shepherd, as your savior. It's accepting him, believing him, and following him so you can know God. Now, in these passages, which if I didn't say was 22 through 39, is also our memory verse. And he talks about knowing that they know my voice. So you could close your eyes and be in the dark, but you know his voice and can know where to go. My daddy, and I use this illustration, I believe, with the leaders in training. Every single year that you do CBS, you have to do a training with the leaders on shepherding because it is such a vital part of CBS, and I love that it is. So I shared with them about my dad. Of course, most of you know he's a farmer, and we had several pastures. And on any given Sunday, he was in one of those pastures, and he would bring sweet feed to the cows. And I just remember as a little girl learning what he did. He'd tell me, and he would start pouring out this sweet feed. He'd drive up to close to where they were so they could see him. And cows are nosy, I'm telling you. And they came up, and he would do this sweet feed, and he'd go around, and he's putting the sweet feed out in different piles. He'd go around, and he'd say, Sioux cow, just talking real sweet and gentle. Sioux cow. There you go, Sioux cow. Sioux cow. I don't know why. I never ask him, why do you say Sioux cow and not moo cow? Does it make any sense to you? I've heard farmers, we never really had pigs, a pig farm, but I've heard them say Sioux-wee. But that's with pigs. I have no idea what Sioux cow means, but guarantee you he could stand on a hill far away and start hollering, Sioux cow, and they would all come running. So he did that. He said so they would be more comfortable with him, and bottom line, so they would recognize his voice. So if they got out on this busy highway, it's busier than ever now, he could come and he could say, Sioux cow, and lead them right to the gate, because they remembered that sweet feed. They remembered that voice took care of them. So knowing his voice is important. And so listening is very important, isn't it? And I want to tell you something else about maybe how we can apply this. What's cool about his voice and reading Ezekiel and reading all those things. Several years of my, young adult life, I got away from the Lord. And it started out with one thought that the devil put there. Obviously, he tries to do that all the time. It's just, what are we going to do with it? Are we going to get our sword book out and knock him off? I picture him on our shoulder because our ear is right here, him witness. I didn't do that. I didn't do it the second time. I didn't do it the third time. So that thought grew and it grew and it grew. And I got comfortable with the stranger's voice, with the enemy's voice. You deserve to be angry about that. You deserve to finally do what you want to do, don't you think? What's wrong with what you want to do? What's wrong with you being happy? Just on and on it went, and farther I went in that direction, because that's what I kept choosing to listen to. But I want to tell you something. I got saved at 14, and the Bible verse I've shared with you before, I think it's in Ephesians. I may be wrong, but I think it's in Ephesians. But I know I've been sealed. I've been sealed to the day of redemption, is what it says. So I was away from it, but I'm going to tell you something. And I said this way before I studied this lesson to many people. God never stopped talking to me. He would talk to me, I know, every day. First part of that time, rebellious time, or me getting away from him, was me ignoring him. Said, no, I don't want to listen to you. I like what he's saying better. Ignoring. And then the second part, it come into finally me talking back. After I had been living away from the abundant life because I had not been following the shepherd. Even though I had not been following the shepherd, his voice kept talking to me. I kept choosing to listen to this other voice, but he kept talking to me, and it was me arguing with him or me justifying. And then it went to, after all that time of not having the abundant life and not following him, was, God, help me. And I would say that for months. Oh, God, I need to get out of this. Help me, Lord. Oh, I'm so sorry. And all this dread. But never until I reached out and said, I'm yours. Reached out and took his hand. He was there the whole time talking to me. That never goes away if you really know him, if you've accepted him. But sometimes we have choices. Every day we have choices. Are we going to listen to that enemy's voice because you like what he's saying better? Or are we going to listen to the shepherd's voice? So my question to you is, are you listening to the good shepherd, or are you listening to another voice? With Jesus as our shepherd, we can have the abundant life. If he's not, then that's put on hold for a while. So third, witnessing. I just want to read those last few verses. And hope is encouraging to you if you have been witnessing to someone for a long time. And it will encourage you, I hope, to continue to witness to others. So he departed, Jesus, again across the Jordan to the place where John had been baptizing earlier. And he remained there. Many came to him and said, John never did a sign, but everything John said about this man was true. And many believed in him there. So John the Baptist, as we know, passionate, urgent about Jesus and witnessing. And apparently these guys didn't accept Jesus then. Apparently they didn't believe then. But when the events happened, light bulb come on. And it said many believed then. So if you have witnessed and witnessed and witnessed and witnessed and witnessed to family members, to friends, take some peace in those verses. We may not see when he believes. John the Baptist didn't. But they did because of every seed that he had planted. And I want to encourage you as well to keep on witnessing. If God is leading you to witness to somebody and you know they're the kind of person that just rather slap you than hear about it, do it anyway. With the election, the way it is, I've heard, it's just so fresh in our minds, so I'm going to use this. But why are you going to go vote? If it's all crooked, there's no point in voting. Well, if the candidate that I feel like God has laid on my heart to vote for, I don't want them to lose because of me. I'm going to go vote. And I can say, if he doesn't win, well, it wasn't because of me that he didn't win. So, that old preacher used to say, don't have blood on your hands. Be obedient and witness to him. You can be valuable. You might not see it. You may not see it. But your witnessing is very, very valuable at bringing others to the Good Shepherd so they can have abundant life. And in closing, I want to go right back to Psalms 23. Our pastor did a series on Psalms right after we started meeting back after we had the shutdown in the spring. So when he got to Psalms 23, a lot of times he would divide maybe the Psalms up or do the whole Psalms if it was short then. Well, we know Psalms 23 is short. He said it was the #1 hit that David ever had. Most popular psalm there is. I think we all could literally quote it. But he did the first, so when he did Psalms 23, that first Sunday that he did Psalms 23, his whole message was on this much of it. The Lord is my shepherd. And that's it. Because every bit of it is null and void if he's not. All those great things that Psalms 23 says has to be because the Lord is your shepherd. I love Psalms 23. It is so comforting. I have a place that I have run away to since I was a little girl, even as an adult. It's just a place through the pasture, at the end of the pasture where it just starts to be woody, the woods, and the creek is flowing. And as soon as you walk in that wooded area and sit on that log, it is like you are in a new place. There's something about being beside the cool waters. But you can't have all that if you did like I did and started listening to another voice. He has to be your shepherd to have the abundant life. Not just the title that I am a Christian or that I am a sheep. He has to be your shepherd for you to experience that abundant life. So, who is your shepherd? Is it you? That gets me into all kind of trouble when it is me. Is it the media and all the things that are happening on the world? Is that what shepherds you? Or is it Christ? Will you choose for Jesus to be your shepherd, truly your shepherd, so you can have the abundant life? See you next week. Next week's a good one too. Bye.